Well, I can't sleep again, so let's do another response video, this time to J.D. DeLay interviewing Enrique Tarrio of the Proud Boys.
Hey everybody, in today's interview we are sitting down with Enrique Tarrio, the shogun of the Proud Boys. We are talking about a man who was sentenced to over 2 decades in federal prison for what happened on January 6th, even though he wasn't even in the same state as the incident.
Yeah, I don't think it was right that he got sentenced for that much time when he wasn't even there. I'm glad he got pardoned. Now, I'm not saying that January 6th was a good thing, or that it was a nothing burger, but I still don't think he should have gotten that much time, so I'm glad he was pardoned.
All right, Enrique, man, thank you so much for coming out here and doing this with us. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man.
So I'm not very knowledgeable about the organization that you are a part of, and I would like to be educated, because I know that myself, I've been called a whole bunch of shit that you've been called, and that's never been a part of my ideology. So I wanted you to come on and be able to explain that, and please educate me, bro.
So let's start with this. Like, I don't even know too much, right? And the reason why is what the basis of the organization is. It's a drinking club.
I don't think that they're terrorists, like many people label them as, but a drinking club? Come on, that's disingenuous.
Let's start with that. That's bare bones what it is, right? It's not a focus group. Like if you were a pro-lifer and you join a pro-lifer group, you know what lane that is. You know what you're about. You're pro-life, you're anti-abortion. So everybody's in the same lane. With us, since it's a drinking club and our only goal is to make better men.
Again, that seems pretty disingenuous.
Like, there's different focal points, and we have a really large organization with about 35,000 members here in the United States and another 10,000 abroad, countries like the UK, South Korea, Canada, Australia. So I'll give you the example. I had 2 members in my chapter, and one was an entrepreneur with no kids, right? Free bird. And then the other one's a 9-to-5, dad, come home, provider, right? So both of them were always at each other's throats. He's like, quit your job, quit your fucking 9-to-5. You're making money for somebody else. And because of those insults and the friendly banter, he quit his job and he started a business, and he's more successful than the other guy.
And what if he did much worse after that? What story would you be telling now? You wouldn't be telling his story.
But then something happened is the guy that's a business owner had a son. He had an incoming child. He was raised without his dad, so he needed advice on how to be a dad. And he looked for guidance to the guy that he helped pick up out of doing those 9-to-5s. So it's kind of like an iron sharpens iron. It always starts at the bar. Go out once a month, drink beer with the boys, get out of the house, disconnect. It's a men's club. At some point in American history, men's clubs stopped being cool. So when we created the organization, we had that in mind.
I guess, but you wouldn't let people in who aren't MAGA. You wouldn't let people in who didn't consider themselves patriots. You wouldn't let them in. So how can you say it's just a club that is for drinking and making men's lives better?
But we get calls, all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah, so I have heard over and over again that before I was even educated at all, that you guys are a white supremacist organization, and you do not. I've been to prison. I've seen white supremacists. I've dealt with them, and you do not look like a white supremacist to me, sir.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Look, we don't give a shit what your fucking skin color is. I don't care what your religion is. Obviously, like, Islam is probably not compatible too much with Western values, but yeah, that's a whole other ballgame.
You probably don't want atheists or Buddhists or pantheists or people who don't believe in a biblical God there either.
We don't care what your cultural background is, where you're from. Maybe if you're illegal, you wouldn't want to join because some guys might want to deport you. But for the most part, To us, it's about ideology, right? It's about Western values.
Well, one can believe in Western values without believing in the Bible, but I don't think you'll allow for that.
And we do have like these tenets that we go by.
Yeah.
It's not like a Bible that you have to, they're not 10 commandments, but we do try to follow them as best as possible.
That kind of negates the notion of it being just a drinking club. Now, I've never believed that they were a terrorist organization, because they never really proved to be terrorists to me. And I've never believed that they were a white supremacist group, no matter how much hype there was about that. But there are tenets. There are things that people in the club have to believe. It's not just a drinking club. It's not just a place to make men better men.
Father God, we pray for the people of Portland. We pray for those that are scared. We pray for those that are wicked, that are doing things that hurt their own community.
So, like, our tenets include, like, glorify the entrepreneur. I believe that one of the quotes, I'm a big fan of Killer Mike. I don't know if you Run the Jewels and Killer Mike.
Yeah.
He says, kill your masters, right? And there's so many masters in your life, and people think like government is one of the masters. It is, but it's not the biggest master. You got your local government officials as your master, but the biggest master you have in your life is your boss. He tells you at what time you got to wake up. He tells you how much money you're going to have in the bank. He tells you what time you got to be home, what time you're going to see your kids, what time you have vacation. You always have to ask. So glorify the entrepreneur is one.
Man, their audio is messed up. I don't think the mics that they have, the lapel mics, I don't think are working. I think they're using just the room mic. So that's why it sounds so bad, probably anyway. And they release the video in 4K, even though it looks like somewhere between 480p and 720p.
The biggest tenets that at least I follow. Glorify the housewife. It's uncool right now to be a housewife. I'm not saying like the women belong in kitchen and you need to be barefoot and pregnant. But like if your woman comes home one day, let's say both of you have your careers, and your woman comes home one day and she's like, you know what, babe? I'm sick and tired of working. I just want to stay home and bake fucking cookies. You know what your job is as a man? Shut the fuck up, zip up, and put out and become the producer at home so she can bake cookies at the house, right? So it's kind of putting women on a pedestal.
Well, I mean, a lot of people who think a woman's place is in the kitchen think that they're putting women up on a pedestal. So I don't know really what you're saying here.
Men are the masters of the universe.
Sounds like you're saying men rule the roost.
But women are that universe.
The audio was so bad, I don't know what you said. Let's hear this a couple more times.
But women are that universe. But women are that universe.
Are you saying, but women are the feelers?
So our values, our core values are Western values.
It seems more like traditional values.
And, most people vibe with that.
Some people vibe with that, but the people who don't won't be in your club. So people can actually support Western values all they want, but unless they have these more traditional values and, believe in prayer and, believe in the Bible, then they're not going to fit.
Have we had our bad apples? Yeah, of course. When you have an organization as big as ours.
Bad audio, unintelligible. I think I heard something about there's bad apples, and that's in every group, maybe. Maybe that's what was being said. I'm not sure.
You get your bad apples, and, I accept that. If you think that we have a perfect organization, we don't. Matter of fact, I don't get along with a lot of my guys. I get along with some of them, but we're all brothers and we respect each other, which is like number one.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, and the tenets that you mentioned are very important to me. My biggest flex in life is that my wife is a trad wife. she wanted to not have to work, and I'm incredibly happy to not have my wife going and working for another man. It feels unnatural, and I didn't like it. So when she said that's what she wanted to do, I was super happy to be able to facilitate that.
What are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. I mean, as I've said before, and this pisses off my viewers on the left, you know, I am not a fan of Black Bloc Antifa. I'm not a fan of the ones that get violent. And one of the things that I like about the Proud Boys, and have always liked about the Proud Boys, is that when Antifa gets violent towards them, they fight back. And that's really, really bad in the eyes of a lot of media.
Are you comfortable talking about the process of what it takes to become a Proud Boy? Is there an initiation? Is there a prospect period? How does that work? Is it like a traditional gang or organization like that?
So the way that we structure our vetting is very extensive. You know, we go through not only like your criminal history, and just because you were a felon at some point for like some stupid shit doesn't like negate you. Like, we're looking for other charges. You know, we're looking for like mass violence. We're looking for, you know, kiddie shit, things like that. We don't want none of that shit in that thing.
So you guys have a no pedophile, no sex offender type policy?
Yes, that's an absolute fucking zero tolerance policy with pedos.
That seems like a good, reasonable policy.
And we'll get into prison pedos too. Had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
The dude over there with the fucking speaker is a fucking pedophile, and you guys let him fucking hang around here. You know what would have happened if he would have been on our side? I would have fucking stabbed his ass. Your president's a pedophile. I've stabbed fucking pedophiles in prison. Is that an admission on camera that you stab people in prison? I stab pedophiles. They're not people. And we let you out of prison. And you should Our president let a person stab people in prison. They should be put in a guillotine to defend pedophiles, you fucking
Kind of sad that the guy was defending pedophiles, isn't it?
But regardless of the fact, yeah, it's an extensive process. There is a prospecting portion. So the only way to really, because your values could be all over the place. You don't have to be a Trump supporter.
Oh, come on now. Who are we kidding?
You don't have to be like, you don't have to have a certain set of ideals, right?
Yes, someone does. You already described that earlier. You can't get out of it now.
But the thing that kicks out the most Proud Boys, where we remove them, is socially awkward people. If you're socially retarded, you're not going to make it.
I don't think that's a very good requirement, but whatever. That's what you do.
You know, if you can't hang out with the boys at a bar and just like be normal.
Well, what are you going to consider normal?
You're not going to make it through here. We'll grind you down, we'll kick you out, or you're going to change, right? Those are two things. We're not looking for people. If you're in the vetting process and all you say is, oh, well, yeah, we're going to go fight Antifa. Okay, but what's something else? No, I'm here to fight Antifa. We don't want you. You're out.
Fair enough there, but I don't think that covers everything.
And also, some of those people that do come in from the videos, those are good prospects because we'll ask them other questions and we give them time to assimilate. Everybody that comes in and thinks that we're like some type of fight club, that we're like, okay, he won't be socially awkward, he has the right views, and we put him in the prospecting stage, it is nothing like they ever dreamed of. You know, it's nothing like they could ever think. They think it's like this organized like thing. We're the most unorganized organization you'll ever see in your fucking life.
I wonder who's more organized, the Proud Boys or Black Bloc Antifa? Probably the Proud Boys, even though I think Antifa, Black Bloc Antifa, is organized enough to use the same tactics all the time.
You know, it's just a group of dudes that are shitposting, drinking beers together and hanging out. And some of us are political activists. As a matter of fact, if I were to gauge it I'd say 90% of our membership aren't activists at all. The most like political thing they've done with their life is go check a box when they got to go vote. They'll never come out to a rally or anything. So it's a small portion of us that come around and do these things. Like we do security for events.
Then why are you known for attending rallies and protests? There's plenty of footage of that.
Come out here to Portland, get some content, talk to some people, shake hands, kiss babies. And if some shit pops off, then we're ready.
You know what? Like, we're here to have fun. We're here to support our ICE agents. And if they decide to touch anybody, I think all of us, I think not just my guys, I think everybody would step in the way.
Yes,
so I'm hoping
sir.
we don't see that too.
So you're there to also protect and defend ICE agents. Okay.
So it's not like a traditional street gang where you'll get jumped in, or
No. So you don't get
prison
jumped
gang
in.
where you have to go and show of heart and blood in, blood out type of
No,
situation.
if you want to leave the Proud Boys, go ahead, leave. There's nothing, it's not like you're out bad or none of that shit.
Yeah.
So there is a beat-in process, but it's not what a lot of people think. So we have degrees. There's 4 degrees, or there might be more, but let's start with the 4 degrees. So you go prospect, and then if the chapter votes in unison, you're allowed to become a member of the organization, which is your first degree, and you take your oath, and the oath is...
I am a Western chauvinist. And I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world.
Well, being that you have the definition of Western that you do, being a Western chauvinist has certain connotations, let's just say.
That makes you a member. After some time of being a member and integrating to the organization will allow you to take your second degree. Since it's more like a fraternal thing, the way that it works is 5 dudes beat your ass until you can name 5 breakfast cereals. We're not punching you in the face. I'm not looking to break your rib or anything. It's more of like a frat boy thing.
Yes, that's very mature.
Mm-hmm. 3rd degree is your tattoo. And this is my first tattoo.
Okay.
Right?
So to get higher up in ranks, you have to get a tattoo? Okay.
I don't know if you're into tattoos.
I might get one someday. I'm still unsure. It's a little too permanent for me.
Yeah. So that's your 3rd degree. And then the 4th degree, it's up to your chapter, your personal chapter, to give you a 4th degree. The 4th degree is the only one you can't look for, right? So if you want to get your 1st degree, you got to join the Proud Boys. 2nd degree, you got to be, you got to want to get your 2nd degree. And by the way, your 2nd degree makes you a brother, right? A 2nd degree, we call you brother.
So member, brother.
Yeah. And that's it. That's as far as that goes. So that's it. Once you're a brother, you go to your 3rd degree in tattoo. Your 4th degree, you don't look for it because it is considered a hardship for the cause. And what is that? And the media likes to spin it. Well, you need to punch Antifa to get a 4th degree. Absolutely not. If we're at an event and there's some barricades and you jump over to Antifa's side and you punch one of them, that's not a 4th degree. As a matter of fact, we might kick you out for that stupid shit. You can't look for it. So if you're on this side and one of those Antifa dudes comes in and punches you in the face, you're gonna have to you have to react to it. You can't just let yourself get punched in the face. But if you punch back, that's considered a hardship. But that's not the only thing. That's what the media focuses on, is like those fights, those brawls. Most people get their 4th degree from one thing. If you have a career and you get doxxed, and you lose your career, 4th degree. If you get deployed, if you're an active duty member and you get deployed while you are a Proud Boy, that is a 4th degree.
That's kind of weird, but whatever. You're certainly more organized than you made the claim earlier, though.
In my case, how I got my 4th degree is in 2017, Hurricane Harvey came and devastated Texas and Louisiana. And I had just joined a couple months before that. And I went and we did water rescues for 5 days. We worked with the Coast Guard. We worked with the Cajun Navy. We had a friend of ours that built this open source rescue program. to like check on your loved ones, and we do wellness checks. So we did that for 5 days. That's considered a hardship.
Fair enough.
Was that something you guys did as the Proud Boys?
Yes.
That's fucking incredible. I'm a regular donator to the Cajun Navy. I
Shit,
love
no
what
way.
they do, man. Yeah,
Awesome.
Absolutely fucking great.
They're great people, and they're very organized. I'm surprised it's not like a government organization, and they're so organized, and that's probably why they're so fucking organized.
I feel like they would be an absolute shit show if they were a government organization.
Yeah, of course.
We see what happens with, FEMA and a lot of the government organizations. When I became chairman in 2018, there was a couple things that I changed, and I guess we'll get to that. But for the most part, talking about this is we do a lot of charity work, right? We do a lot of like Toys for Tots. We do a lot of bike drives down here in South Florida. I know my Hurricane Coast guys, they do like a bike drive where they go to Walmart, they buy a whole bunch of bikes and they give it to the kids.
That's very cool. That's very commendable.
But one rule that I established is that you cannot record and promote those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can't have a video of yourself doing those deeds.
Good.
Right?
Good.
And we don't do that. We'll talk like this and we'll be open about it, but we don't do video.
I understand why they don't want recordings of that, but at the same time, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, I think it could get them a little bit better reputation by our media, but I can see both sides of that.
You guys do a lot of the same type of stuff that I'm aligned with. Like I do a toy drive every year for local in need families down in Eugene, but we put out a video saying, hey, if you want to donate, here's an address you can send stuff to. If you're not in the local area, here's where you can drop if you are.
I think it's good to promote it, right? I think it's good so people see, hey, I could get involved in it, and it inspires people.
I definitely agree.
But like, we're at another level, we're an organization, and what I don't want is for the public to be like, oh, they're doing this as a media stunt.
Yeah, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. They could go after them for doing something, and they could go after them for not doing anything.
Don't do it for
because it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's perception. I don't shit on anybody that does it. I'm just saying, like, as the way that our organization's structured, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah,
I don't want to promote that.
Yeah, well, I think that there's a lot of people who are opportunistic and they know that the optics are good when they're doing any type of thing like that. The influencer who goes out and films himself giving a homeless person $20 and they're like, hey, cry a little bit.
That's fucking cringe.
And I think about how many people have went after Mr. Beast for doing good things just because he records it.
It's fucking gross, bro. It's absolutely gross. So I like the way that you guys.
If you're doing like a soup kitchen, like there's certain. It's not binary. If you're doing like a soup kitchen where you're feeding people and it's a bunch of the boys or something, then you want to record it and you guys are having fun, cool, but that's cringe. Like you're walking down the street, you're like, hey, here, man, here's $20. Like you're not doing it with good intentions. I appreciate it. And so does that person because they don't care what you're doing it for. It's money or food in their belly, So, but I made that rule just to kind of keep it clean.
That's good. I absolutely agree with you on that. So as far as I want to talk about hardships a little bit, because I know that you've been through some really excessive shit, but like, have you been through stuff like getting doxxed, swatted, death threats? I know ultimately you ended up in prison. Can you talk about some of the hardships that you've been through with this situation?
I want to generalize first, and then I'll focus on myself. So I think this whole thing started on September 9th of 2016, right? Hillary Clinton called Trump supporters a basket of deplorables, right?
You can put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Well, to be fair, some of those things do describe a lot of Trump supporters. Not all of them, but the main one I'd say would be xenophobia.
And what they did with that is they tried to dehumanize half the country.
I wouldn't say half the country. I'd say maybe 30% of the country, though.
Although we took it for ourselves and we had fun with it. We put it on T-shirts and hats and cool. We're like, whoa, we're the deplorables. The serious nature of it is that the left genuinely believed that we were diplomats. And when they saw that insulting us wasn't making a dent, they're like, okay, well, we need to silence them. So in 2017, I had a huge Twitter following. I had a blue check. Getting a blue check on Twitter when you're not like a politician or celebrity was very difficult. I had a blue check on Twitter, massive following for the time. And what they did is they started knocking out conservative voices. They're like, okay, well, insults don't work. We got to silence them.
There were a lot of attempts at trying to silence them. That's true.
They saw that made things worse because when they banned us, like me and the Proud Boys, off social media, we started doing a lot more IRL shit. The Hurricane Harvey, coming to these events here in Portland. When they saw that the silencing didn't work, it started getting really shaky. You were in very shaky ground because they started going after soft financial platforms at first, like PayPal, Cash App.
And going after those things is absolutely despicable.
Those financial platforms, we're not allowed to use them. To this day, we're not allowed to use them. Really. Yeah. They saw that didn't work, so they took it a step further and they took us off our banking, right? Chase Bank knocked me off.
Isn't that insane?
I did an investigation. I worked with Project Veritas. I worked undercover at the time, and we found out that the reason why they knocked me off is because they don't, and I'm going to quote them, they don't do business with those kinds of people. And when I asked them, what kinds of people, those MAGA people. So they definanced us completely.
To me, that shouldn't have been legal.
But I don't do this for money. And people always call activists clout chasers or grifters, right? If they truly knew that there's not a lot of money in this, there's money if you're like Mr. Beast or people like that where YouTube is paying them fucking shit ton of money, but there's no real money in this. So when they saw, well, we assaulted them, it didn't work. We silenced them, it didn't work. We took out their fucking banking and their money away from them, which destroyed one of my businesses that I had built over 12 years, by the way. They saw that didn't work. So the next step was locking us down. They got COVID-19. They're like, no, you can't run your fucking business. Stay the fuck home. 6 foot distancing, wear the fucking mask, do the thing.
I don't think the lockdowns have anything to do with trying to stop you from having influence. Sorry.
Oh, well, we started doing reopen campaigns across the country. So did a lot of other MAGA patriots, right? That didn't fucking work. So what did they do? They allowed Antifa and BLM to burn down fucking cities and fucking assault and kill people.
They let that happen, yes, but that has nothing to do with trying to stop you guys.
For the whole summer without consequence. And then they saw that didn't work. So they knew what the real problem was. It was the president. So what do? They steal the election.
Oh, give me a fucking break. That's ridiculous. Sorry. Conspiracy bullshit.
And then January 6th happens.
I mean, if you wouldn't have believed in conspiracy theory bullshit, you wouldn't have been involved in January 6th, and you wouldn't have seen jail time and all of that. But you believed in it, so you kind of had to deal with some consequences. It shouldn't have been as bad as it was, especially when you weren't even there, but you did try to help organize some of it. At least we got more information and more insights as to some of the inner workings of the Proud Boys, and I'm thankful for that. Just saying.